Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Sean with Morning Lifter. Thanks again for tuning in. Today, I've got a special treat for you. I'm going to walk you through how I've set up my lever arms for leg extensions and leg curls using a couple small tools that will only cost you 10 or 15 bucks. And it's a great hack. Hope you guys enjoy it. And we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you need to do when you're ready to set up your lever arms for leg extensions, the best setup I found was actually doing it on the side of the power rack because of the difference in space. And I was able to use my reverse hyper platform that I built. If you haven't seen that, make sure to check that out. And I used that as a seat. But to get everything set up, I removed the lever arms first, and I set them almost to the very bottom of the ground so that they sway, because you got to remember, you want your knee to hit that access point on the lever arm. So I go to the first hole on the side, which ends up being here and here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and set those up, and they just slide right in. Okay. Now, once they're in, you don't need to lock them in. The reason for that is because you've got your safety bar pin that you're going to use for the seated platform as well. So you can just put them in for the time being, because you're going to slide your safety bar in next. And that's going to go right through the top hole. And you'll just slide it in, and then you'll guide it there. So you'll just hang that tight for just a moment, then you'll get your platform. Okay, now once you have your platform set up, make sure the bench is gone, your safety straps are removed. I've got my safety pin here, and all I'm going to do is just connect the platform, slide it through to the other side to secure it, and then I'll do the same thing on the back side. So again, it just slides right through. Connect it all the way. You've got your seat, okay? What you need to do next is you've got to adjust your weight horn and remove the handle, and then add on your attachments for the leg extension. So the attachments are really easy. It's just a simple foam roller that you can buy on Amazon. The link will be in the description. Foam roller that comes in a pair. All right, you can use this for leg extension and leg curls. There's no cover on it. There's no vinyl on it. It's just the foam. And then I have a 5/8 by 12-inch concrete anchor rod. I got this at Home Depot, and I think they were about $1.50, $1.75, something like that. So very, very cheap. I think the pair of this was about $20. So all told, about $25, and you've got yourself a self-made leg extension and leg curl setup. So what you've got to decide then, as you go through and you set this up, I would recommend that you sit and test out to find out where your feet, where your ankles are going to lay, so that you can set this up right below, right on the point of your ankle, or right above. That way, that gives you the best range of motion. So that was something that I had to do to figure out before I started with my own leg extension. So the way I set it up is I remove the arms or the handles. And some people have asked me too, what are the spacers? You can see this is the spacer that I use. It's just a simple piece of wood, pretty small, and I just painted red, and then I've been able to use as a spacer. So I know for me, I have to go the 8th hole from the bottom. That's where it fits for me. So I'll add that in. And I'll slide that right on. I take the bolt. Now I added a washer. I had some extra bolts from the power rack or from other pieces of equipment. I had an extra washer, so I used the washer as well. And I just screw it right on. Okay, then I'll do the same for the other side. Again, take the handle off and the horn. Go 8 up, slide it through, put on my extension. Screw it in, and now you're set to go with the actual padding piece. What you have to do next is add your weight horn. So I've found that the weight horn goes best, especially because you got to remember with these, gravity is the best thing. So I found that putting the weight horn right in the center point of your foam padding gives the best feeling, at least for me, for training your legs. So I always try to make sure that I put one of the pins goes right above, and then the other one goes right below the actual location of the leg extension pad. And it's something you might have to play with too. If it's too low, raise it up one, right? And so for me, that actually fits perfectly, because again, you want that horn to be right in line. So this is where it fits. Once this pin goes in, you can connect it, and I usually will add my extra spacer. I'll just put that on the back end just for a little bit more support. I connect that, and then I'll do the same thing over here. Again, I line it up. I'll add my spacer. And now I'm set to go. Okay? So I can add the weight, and then I can go right on, sit on right on top, and then start the exercise. So I always just sit on up, right like this, and I'll go one at a time, and I can perform my leg extensions right like you see. Same way with the other side. Sometimes I'll slide over a little bit more just to get it a little bit closer. But again, you can see it's right on the ankle, and I can drive straight up and come straight down under control. So this has been really good for me, and it's something that I've really enjoyed doing. And if you've got the right setup with the lever arms, it's awesome. I've really enjoyed it, and it's added a whole nother level of training for me. But the main key is you've got to make sure that you can get your lever handles and the weight horns. You're going to have to remove them. So if you don't have a setup for this, to remove them, just unscrew the bolts and then just swap them out like that. And if you guys got questions on it, you can always let me know. So this is how you set up the leg extensions. You just add the weights on top, add clips, and you're set to go. Now, if you want to do dual leg extension, there's one more thing that you can do. You can get a rod. So this is a 5/8 by 36 inch steel rod that you can connect and run all the way through. So if you wanted to do dual leg extensions, you would just remove your individual anchor rods then you would slide your foam through once you put it through. So slide your rod through, and then slide your foam padding through, and now you're set up. Now to secure this, to keep it from sliding back and forth, what I would do is I would secure it with the handle. I put the handle right on the outside, and then I would add hitch pins to that as well. I'm not going to go through that whole setup, but that's, you can visualize how it would work, right? So that would prevent it then from moving around, and then just add your hitch pins to the side of it, and they would connect here and you'd be set to go. But for most people, I would say the single leg extension is the best fit because it's a little bit easier in setup time. This is still good, but it takes longer. So if you're a little bit pressed on time, the single leg extension is really good. So this is the easy setup for leg extension. What we'll get into next is how I do leg curls. All right, so what's really great about doing the leg curl is you don't really need to change much. So my setup is still the same. I found that usually whatever works for leg extensions will also work for leg curls, because you're still trying to put your knee on the access point here, so when it swings, your knee is right in line, okay? You'll set up the weight just like you did for leg extensions, but the only difference is you're putting your leg curls in the front of the rack as opposed to the side. So what I use is I use a box to stand on. It's a simple plyo box that all you have to do is just stand on, and then you just go one leg at a time. So your setup is still the same, and then everything else you do is you're just performing the leg curl action. So I'll stand up, and I'll just brace up against the rack, put the back of my ankle right on the foam pad, and then I'll curl one way, go to the other side, and curl the next way. Just like with the leg extensions, you've got to make sure that you're putting the arm as far down as it will go. So I've got this all the way at the base of the rack, and then I just attach it right there. So it's very simple moves to do, but it's really, really advantageous because it doesn't cost much, but you can use your lever arms for a whole slew of extra ways that many never thought possible. So I hope this video gives you some great ideas. If you give it a try, let me know how it worked. If you got questions, you guys can always get a hold of me at Morning Lifter on Instagram or on Facebook, or you can always email me, morninglifter@gmail.com. If you got questions, let me know. If not, good luck, have fun with it, and it'll add a whole new variety to your training.